Let's talk about the different types of bones needed for a modern strapless bra versus traditional corsetry and how they are somewhat different. This is due to the fact that bras use a combination of stretch and non stretch fabrics, versus traditional corsetry uses very sturdy non stretch couture fabric. So let's get started. In general, plastic boning work really well in strapless bras, both in the cups and the cradle. However, if you are extra busty or have very dense or heavy breasts, you may want to upgrade the bone in the cups to synthetic whalebone. And then for the cradle itself, upgrade to spiral bones.
Here are a couple different options that are used in lingerie and corsetry. Let's begin with some of the lighter weights and move our way into the heavier duty stuff. These two are what I call lingerie bones. This is typically what's used in retail bras. It's a little bit more flexible. They come in different lengths, and these insert into a bone casing or bra channeling quite nicely. This is the exact same thing, but covered in a flocked fabric. It is sandwiched on all sides. You can see just the lightest outline of the plastic boning in here. If you were to cut it in half, you'll see this directly. This is typically used in retail bras. I have not seen this in very many bra supplier shops, but occasionally you get lucky and you can purchase these in pre-cut lengths and occasionally continuous rolls. Next up, we have the most common plastic boning. This is often called Ridgeline, which is actually a specific brand, but this is a type of sew-through plastic boning. You can see what look like lots of little holes in here, and this allows you to sew the boning directly onto the fabric. It is commonly used in dressmaking in the bodice section to provide support and to prevent wrinkles. This type of sew-through boning is not recommended for the made strapless because of the inability to remove the bones. This type of boning also requires finishing of the edges because this is quite sharp on the cut edge here. The two common methods of finishing this end is to actually melt the edge here with a lighter or a candle, or to cover it up entirely with a thin piece of fabric. Plastic boning also comes in a version where the boning is inside the casing. This comes on a roll and is available at big box stores. So in this case, you would cut it to length, remove your boning, sew the bone casing on, and then put the boning back in. Like the Ridgeline version, you also need to finish the edges of the plastic bones. My favorite method is to simply trim off the corners so it's not quite so jagged. This makes it easier to insert into the casing, but also less chance of it poking through. Your other option is to melt the corners. So this is the type that's available at the big box fabric shops, and it comes in a synthetic bone casing. This is the type I carry at my shop. It has a cotton casing, and you can see that it is slightly wider as well. And likewise, I do trim the corners a little bit. Before inserting it back in. In a pinch, you can also use zip ties. The trick is to find the thickest, heaviest, longest, sturdiest version at your local home improvement shop. We found that this is usually in the HVAC section, so the air conditioning and heating section. They have slightly thicker versions than, say, in the electrical area. And again, you want to go with the longer so you can trim to size as needed. Next up, we move into the corsetry bones. These are the two most commonly used bones in traditional corsetry. We have spiral steel and we have spring steel. So spiral steel is aptly named. You can see the spiral-shaped coils within the bones themselves that allows it to be flexible this way, but also this way, making it an excellent option for side seams where you need to move and bend around a lot. Spiral steel also comes in a continuous length option. This is really great if you are going to be making several garments that require it and they need several different lengths of the spiral steel boning. If you were to purchase this, you would need to cover up these cut raw edges with bone caps. And what you want to do is take your caps. So after you cut your spiral steel to length, you take your bone cap, you put it on, and using 2 sets of pliers, you're going to pinch it on. So you're going to have one set going this way and one set going this way. And then that will stay on for you. This is spring steel. This is what's used in traditional corsets and is favored for non-stretch fabrics like couture. This is not recommended for the strapless moire because it doesn't have the flexibility to handle stretch fabrics. Some of us are a little bit more sensitive to the feeling of bones against our body. So what we can do is take a little rectangle of bra foam, and you're going to sew this over the ends of your boning that's inside the bone casing, and you're going to cover it up. So you have your bone and your bone casing, and you place this over it, and you sew a little rectangle around it, and this will just provide a little extra padding for you. And that's it on our section on sewing bones.